4 prophets still alive? The mystery of immortality in Islam. There are stories that, once you hear them, make your heart fall silent for a very long time, as if you have brushed against a secret human beings were never meant to know. These stories are not about death. They are about what lies beyond it. Imagine this. There are people whose bodies left this world thousands of years ago. Yet they are still alive. They eat, they speak, they walk, they pray, and sometimes they even pass right by you. And you simply do not notice. They are proof that death is not the final period. It is a doorway that opens into another form of life. And if I told you that in this world there are people who have never tasted destruction, that they exist in a place where time no longer moves, where every breath is praise to Allah, would you believe it? Muslim scholars say that the worldly life we are living is only the first of 5 levels of existence. Beyond this veil, where the naked eye cannot see, there are other levels where time, space, and death do not mean what we think they mean. There, chosen souls still live, still move among the heavens, still worship the Creator in ways human beings cannot imagine. The Qur'an says, "Do not say that they are dead. In truth, they are alive, but you do not perceive." That statement is not a metaphor. It is a metaphysical truth that the human mind is often not brave enough to touch. Because if you truly understood it, you would never look at this world the same way again. The life you know, with its laughter, its fears, its scents, and its endings, is only a fragile shell. Beneath it is a complex structure of layers of light, where souls travel like streams of light through realms untouched by matter. When some people die, their souls abide in Barzakh, an intermediate world between life and judgment. But there are others, those whom Allah has chosen, who do not follow that path. They are raised, not by their own intellect or strength, but by divine grace and purpose. They are not bound by the concept of death as we know it. They are living witnesses of limitless power, people whose existence pierces the borders of reason and physics. This is not folklore, and it is not a legend embroidered by imagination. It is truth written in the Qur'an, narrated in authentic Hadith, and explained by great scholars such as Imam Tabari, Imam Qurtubi, and Said Nursi. They say that among the thousands of prophets sent to humanity, there are 4 who never tasted annihilation. Those 4, Idris, Khidr, Isa, and Ilyas, are still alive, each in a different level of existence. Idris was raised to the heavens alive. Khidr slipped beyond time after drinking from the water of life. Isa was taken up with his body before his enemies could touch him. Ilyas mounted a horse of light and ascended when his call was forgotten by people. These 4 torches are still burning, lighting spaces where human feet have never walked. They are not merely symbols. They are proof that life never truly goes out. Have you ever wondered why we sometimes dream of those who have passed away? Or feel a gaze upon us when all around is stillness? Perhaps it is not an illusion. Perhaps it is the crossing of living layers. The moment when the world of the living and the world of abiding souls brush lightly against each other. Those prophets live in such places, spaces that cannot be measured, where every motion is by the will of Allah, and sometimes, they return, only to remind us that faith is not an idea, it is a cord that runs straight to the root of existence. If you are ready to open your heart, walk with us on this journey, a journey not only through space, but through soul and memory. This is Spiritual Echo Stories, where we retell sacred, forgotten stories, memories that, once you hear them, will change how you see the world around you. And if you feel something stirring in your heart right now, please subscribe to the channel to support us. Every subscription is a small lamp that helps us keep bringing you stories that awaken your soul and make your faith more alive than ever. There are lives not written only in time, but in light. Idris is one of them, a prophet born in the earliest days of humanity, when the world was still new and people were just learning how to understand the meaning of existence. He was not only an heir of Adam by blood, he was also an heir in wisdom, integrity, and the stillness of the soul. In every account, Idris appears as humanity's first teacher, the one who taught people how to read the sky, to measure time by the stars, and to write down their thoughts with the stroke of a pen. He was the first to take knowledge in his hands and the sacred in his heart. Idris did not live in the noise of the world. He chose stillness. His hours passed between prayer and contemplation, It is said he hardly ate, hardly slept, and let no moment slip by without remembering Allah. For that reason, angels often visited him, not only for his sanctity, but because they loved the light that shone from his soul. In every breath of Idris there was gratitude, and in every step there was praise. Perhaps that is why he was chosen for a journey no one had taken before. A journey beyond the limit of death. One day, while he was worshipping, Idris expressed a strange desire. He wanted to meet the angel of death, Azrael, not because he was afraid, but because he wanted to understand. He wanted to see with his own eyes what people only dared to imagine with trembling. Allah, who knows the secrets in the human heart, granted that wish. One evening, as the light faded, a stranger appeared where Idris was praying. The stranger greeted him with the humility of a fellow traveler. Idris saw in his eyes a light that was not of the sun, but of another realm. They walked together through long days of silence. They fasted together, prayed together, and crossed desolate lands where even the wind seemed to stop and listen. Idris noticed his companion never tired, never needed sleep, never needed food, and cast no shadow on the ground. Then he understood. This was no ordinary man. When he asked, the stranger said, "I am Azrael, the angel of death." Idris did not fear. Instead, he looked at Azrael as if looking into a mirror that reflects what everyone tries to avoid. He said, "Let me taste death, so I may understand the pain people endure when the soul leaves the body. Perhaps when I live again, I will never sleep, for how can one sleep after tasting the edge of the eternal?" Azrael sought permission from Allah and was granted it. Idris closed his eyes, and in that instant the world seemed to break open. He felt himself torn from himself, like skin pulled from bone while still feeling. It was not an ending, but a violent passage where every sense was stripped away and only a naked soul remained. When he was brought back to life, Idris said to Azrael, "Death is not what I imagined. It is deeper than fear, and closer to light. Only by dying does a person understand what it means to truly live." From then on, Idris no longer belonged to this world. He began another journey, one even angels asked permission to take. He asked to see hell, and when its gate opened by the smallest crack, its heat made him faint. When he awoke, he trembled and said, no one could endure that place for even a single breath. Then he asked to see paradise. When its gate opened, he saw rivers flowing through light, gardens filled with fragrance, and heard praises of Allah like the wind. He stepped in, only one step, but his heart was bound to that place. Azrael told him it was time to leave. But Idris said, "I have tasted death, I have passed by hell, I have stepped into paradise." The Qur'an says that whoever tastes death will not die a second time. Whoever passes through hell will not return to it, and whoever enters paradise will not be cast out. Then I belong here. Azrael was silent. When he reported to Allah, the Almighty said, "My servant has spoken the truth. Let him remain." So Idris remained there, not as a phantom, but as a complete being, body and soul raised beyond every limit of the universe. The Quran says, "And we raised him to a high place." Maryam 56-57. That is not a symbol. It is truth. Idris became the first human mark upon the heavens. He is proof that whoever lives in the light of faith will not be imprisoned in the darkness of death. To this day, scholars say Idris is alive in the fourth heaven, where the Prophet Muhammad met him on the night of Isra and Miraj. Idris is not only a figure of the past, he is a witness for the present, that those who live with wisdom and integrity are raised by Allah, not only in rank, but in the very fabric of their existence. The life of Idris reminds humanity that knowledge is not for pride. It is for bringing the soul nearer to the Creator, and that only those who live as if they have already died truly understand the meaning of life. There are people whose existence cannot be measured by years, because they step beyond the border of time. Among them is one wrapped in light and mystery, Khidr. His name in Arabic means green, because wherever he sat, that place became verdant. But that greenness is not only the color of fields. It is a symbol of life, of divine knowledge, of the light Allah grants to those whom He chooses. Khidr is unlike anyone, because he does not live within what we call a human lifespan. He does not grow old. He is not confined by place or time. He is not bound by material needs. He exists at another level of life where things happen in parallel. Where he can be present in many places at once. And where knowledge does not come from study, but from direct illumination from Allah. Khidr's story begins long ago. In an age when kings sought the edges of the world, there was a ruler named Dhul Qarnayn, to whom Allah granted power and wisdom to travel from the east to the west. In a search for legendary water that grants abiding life, the water of Hayat, Dhul Qarnayn traveled with a quiet companion whose eyes held the sky of mysteries. That companion was Khidr. They entered a region of darkness no light could penetrate, and there they were separated. In that place, Khidr found the water, drank from it, and from that moment he was no longer of this world. Dhul Qarnayn, powerful as he was, could not find that spring. Such is the difference between worldly power and knowledge granted from the heavens. Khidr became the keeper of hidden knowledge, al-ladunni. A kind of knowing no school can teach, because it is not transmitted by words but by Allah's light poured into a heart. That knowledge does not arise from curiosity, but from purity. Allah chose him as a sign for humanity, to show that some matters cannot be grasped by reason, but only by bowing in faith. For that reason, Allah caused Khidr to meet Musa, one of the greatest prophets, to teach the human race about the limits of understanding. The story is recorded in Surah Al-Kahf, where Allah told Musa that there was a servant who had been given knowledge he did not possess. Carrying the desire to learn, Musa went to meet Khidr at the place where the two seas meet. When they met, Musa asked to stay and learn from him. But Khidr said, "You will not be able to be patient with me, for how could you bear what you do not comprehend?" Musa promised patience, and their journey began. On that path, 3 events unfolded like lessons that surpass human logic. Khidr damaged the boat of poor men, an act that seemed senseless, yet it saved them from a tyrant king who was seizing every good vessel. He then killed a child, which horrified Musa, but later he explained that the child, if left to live, would have driven his faithful parents away from their faith. Finally, he rebuilt a collapsing wall in a stingy town that refused them even a cup of water. Because beneath that wall lay the treasure of 2 orphans that Allah intended to preserve until they grew up. 3 stories, 3 paradoxes. 3 times Musa could not hold back. 3 times Khidr reminded him, "I told you that you would not be able to be patient." When they parted, Khidr said, "I did not do these things by my own will. They were commands from Allah." That lesson stands as one of the greatest demonstrations in the Qur'an of the limits of human reason. Khidr is not only a character, he is a living sign of what Allah calls hikmah, wisdom hidden beneath the surface of trials. He is a reminder that not every loss is a punishment and not every pain is an ending. Sometimes Allah breaks the boat to save you from the storm ahead. Because of that knowledge, Khidr is unlike anyone. He may stand beside you when you are in despair, and you will not recognize him. He may appear as a poor man asking for water, or as an old man warning you to stop before you make a mistake. Many scholars say that those who reach deep spiritual ranks may meet Khidr. Not with the eyes, but with the soul. He still lives, still moves, still helps those whom Allah wills to save. Some say that Khidr and Ilyas will appear together before the day of judgment to confront the great deceiver. Al-Dajjal. The presence of Khidr reminds us that true knowledge is not housed in books, but in a heart filled with light. He is a symbol of patience and faith when everything seems to make no sense. In a world enchanted by speed and results, Khidr teaches that some questions do not need answers, some hurts do not require explanations, and some mysteries are meant to be felt through surrender. And perhaps, when you stand at a crossroads, unsure which way to turn, if a stranger smiles and says a few words that sell your heart for reasons you cannot explain, remember that it may not be only a person. Perhaps Khidr still walks beside us, in the form of mercy that Allah sends into a life full of trials. In the quiet night of the ancient world, a woman named Maryam knelt in a small sanctuary. There were no voices there, only the breath of a pure soul and the light falling through a window. Maryam did not know that in that very moment, history was about to turn. An angel appeared, light filling the room, and said, "Maryam, Allah brings you good news. You will bear a child named Isa, a purified son, a sign for humankind." Astonished, she asked, "How can I have a child when no man has ever known me?" The angel smiled. "It is the command of Allah. When He wills a thing, He says be, and it is." From that moment, the miracle began. Maryam left her people and went far away, taking shelter beneath a date palm. There, in the desert, Isa was born, not in a palace, not with ceremony, but in solitude and complete trust. When she returned, holding the child in her arms, the people were shocked. They accused her of sin. Maryam did not speak. She pointed to the child. In a moment that made the world fall silent, Isa, still an infant, spoke, "I am a servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet." A child spoke like a saint, and those words opened a new era. Isa grew up in stillness and contemplation. He owned no wealth and sought no power. His life was a reminder of simplicity and mercy. Allah granted him miracles, not for show, but to demonstrate the Creator's power. With a handful of clay, he shaped a bird, breathed upon it, and it lived. He touched the blind, and they saw. He touched those with leprosy, and they were healed. He called the dead by name, and they returned. Yet Isa always said, "I do these by the permission of Allah, not by my own power." People fear what they do not understand. The rulers and the religious authorities of his time saw Isa as a threat. They feared that his call to purity, to tawhid, to compassion would shatter the order that served their interests. They plotted to kill him. They conspired to extinguish the torch. But no one can extinguish a flame lit by Allah. One night, while Isa and his disciples were in a small room in Jerusalem, Allah revealed their plot to him. Jibril appeared and guided him to a room with a window that opened to the sky. When the soldiers burst in, Allah made one of the betrayers resemble Isa, so the crowd believed they had captured him. As for Isa, in a single moment, he was raised from the earth, body and soul ascending to the heavens where the light never goes out. The Qur'an records, they said, "We have killed Isa, the son of Maryam," but they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him. Allah raised him up to himself. An-Nisa 157-158. From then on, Isa vanished from human sight. There was no body, no grave, no funeral, only silence. But that silence has echoed for 2,000 years. Because he still lives, not as a figure of speech, but literally. He was raised to the second heaven, where he continues to pray, to praise Allah, and to watch humanity with the care of a father. Scholars say he is awaiting the command to return, and when that hour comes, the world will witness the final chapter of history. One morning yet to come, when al-Dajjal, the greatest deceiver, spreads chaos, Isa will return. The Qur'an and the Hadith describe it. He will descend near the white minaret in Damascus, holding a spear, with 2 angels at his sides. When al-Dajjal sees him, he will dissolve like salt in water. Isa will end the tyranny, restore justice, and lead humanity back to tawhid, the oneness of Allah. He will live for a time among people, marry, have children, and then pass away naturally. It is believed that he will be buried beside the Prophet Muhammad in Medina, so that the 2 messengers of Allah may rest together, light beside light. Yet Isa's story is not only a prophecy of the future, it is a mirror of humility and steadfastness. In an age where power and faith often clash, Isa teaches that true strength is not conquering others, but conquering oneself. When people are torn between faith and reason, Isa reminds us that faith does not oppose reason. It rises above it. When the world loses compassion, he reminds us that mercy is the language understood by every religion. Perhaps that is why he still lives, waiting for a day when humanity is mature enough to understand that the one who was sent did not come to found a new religion, but to restore what has been from the beginning, absolute loyalty to Allah and kindness among human beings. Isa is the breath of life in the desert of the human heart. Proof that the light of faith can outlast time, and that even when people think they have killed the messenger of God, Allah keeps him alive, not in memory, but in the living reality of the heavens, until the day that light returns to earth. In the darkest era of the children of Israel, when the light of faith seemed to have gone out and people bowed to idols made by their own hands, Allah sent them a man, a prophet steadfast and alone, burning like a torch in the night. That man was Ilyas. He came when King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had drowned their nation in deception, forcing them to worship Baal, a false god the Canaanites called the god of rain, thunder, and harvest. At the feet of huge bronze statues, thousands bowed, offering gifts and begging for what only Allah can give. In that age when the cry of truth was buried under false prayers, Ilyas was sent like a thunderclap to wake a sleeping people. He stood before them and spoke without a tremor. O people of Israel, how long will you hesitate between two paths? If Allah is your Lord, follow him. If Baal is your Lord, then follow him. You cannot worship both. His words stirred a storm in human hearts. They mocked him, calling him mad and a disturber of the peace. Ilyas did not back down. He challenged 450 priests of Baal on Mount Carmel, the place where they believed their false gods would hear them. All day the priests shouted, slashed their skin as offerings, but not a single answer came. At sunset, Ilyas stepped forward. He built an altar of stone and poured water over it 3 times until no earthly fire could possibly burn. Then he lifted his face and prayed, O Allah, Lord of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, let these people see that you alone are God, and that I am only your servant. The moment he finished, a fire fell from the sky, consuming the altar. The water turned to steam, and the earth beneath split. The people fell to their knees and cried, Allah alone is our Lord. A drought of many years ended at once. Rain poured down as a witness to the truth. Yet even after seeing a miracle, human beings are weak. In time, they return to idols. Seeing this, Ilyas was heartsick. He had given his life to bring his people back to Tawhid. Yet the betrayal continued. He grew weary, not from failure, but from loneliness. He prayed, My Lord, I have fulfilled the mission, but my heart is heavy. If it is your will, bring me back to you. In a valley between Mount Carmel and the Jordan River, that prayer was answered. One morning, as Ilyas walked with his devoted student Ilyas, the sky opened and a blinding light poured down. A fierce wind rose, not with dust, but with ribbons of fire. In that wind, a horse made of light appeared. Its mane was flame. Its hooves did not touch the ground. Its eyes reflected the whole sky. Ilyas fell to his knees, tears on his face. Ilyas turned, placed his cloak upon his student, the sign of knowledge and prophetic mission, and said, I am not dying. I am returning to where I came from. He mounted the horse, and in a radiant instant it soared into the sky, leaving a trail like a rainbow. From that day, Ilyas disappeared from human sight. Disappearing is not an ending. He was raised to another level of life, where body and soul remain together. Like Khidr, he became one who lives among layered realms, appearing when Allah wills and vanishing when the moment passes. Stories handed down through centuries tell that Ilyas and Khidr meet once each year to pray for the world, for the faithful, and for mercy never to be extinguished. In one narration preserved across ages, the Prophet Muhammad was traveling with companions in the desert when a voice called from afar, My Lord, let me be among the community of Muhammad. The Prophet sent Anas ibn Malik to see, and he met a gentle-faced elder in white, absorbed in worship. When Anas returned with the news, the Prophet came, and they met, 2 prophets, 2 eras. In the desert, a table descended from the sky, and they ate together. Then a horse of light appeared, and Ilyas mounted and disappeared among the clouds, leaving everyone with the certainty that those who live for truth never truly vanish. Today, scholars say that Ilyas still lives and sometimes appears to help those lost in despair. Some tell of meeting a stranger in the night, being saved from a storm or guided out of a wasteland, only to find by morning that no one knows who he was. They believe it was Ilyas, the prophet who does not belong to time, still walking among humanity as a reminder that loyalty to Allah is never lost. The story of Ilyas proves an unchanging truth. Faith does not need a crowd. It needs steadfastness, even if the whole world stands against you. If a single heart remains with the truth, the light of Allah will be there. Ilyas is the flame of courage, the one who shows that even in the black night of false gods, a single spark of faith can burn the darkness away. And like the other 3 living prophets, Ilyas remains, waiting for the day when the earth once again needs that flame, the flame of loyalty, of truth, and of a light that never goes out. In an age where people chase material things without rest, these 4 stories are an alarm clock for the soul. Stop, listen, look within, ask yourself, is my soul alive? Or merely existing because perhaps what makes a person truly immortal is not the body, but faith and what one leaves in the hearts of others. If you feel moved by these stories, walk with us as we explore more sacred memories of humanity, where history meets the soul, where faith meets the light. Join Spiritual Echo Stories to receive more deep knowledge about the prophets, about the secrets time cannot bury, and about the path home for your own soul. Please subscribe to support us, so that each video is not only a story, but a wake-up call sent straight to your heart.